Hey, Casa Sadobis, Pastor John here, and talking about what we're doing this Sunday in Fun Day School, and talking about what the message is this week in our family message. So, um, so my question is, by what authority do we do things in the church or in our community? How do you get this authority? Do you get authority by dressing like me, wearing a collar? Is it because I'm ordained that I have authority? Or who has authority in the kingdom of God, in the reign of God, in the realm of God? And so this is a question we're going to be looking at today. I have some things here, so let's take a look. So, is authority coming from religious people? Is that where we get authority from? Or do we get authority from the saints have authority? Do prophets have authority? What about, let's say, people who are like shepherds? Are shepherds or people from the other side of the border, do they have authority? What about women? Do women have authority? Do the smallest among us have authority? What about little tiny babies? Little tiny babies, do they have a part in our community? What about people from other countries, refugees, people who are trying to flee from other areas? Do they have authority? Where do we get authority from? Well, this was a question that that some religious leaders were asking Jesus, and so I'm going to ask you what your choice is at the very end of those people that I just showed you, who has authority in the community. And so, but there is a religious leader, and the religious leader asked Jesus, there's Jesus, Jesus was preaching, and they said, you know, Jesus, who has authority? Where did you get your authority from? How do you do these things? How are you saying to do these things, and why are you doing these things? What authority do you have? Jesus said, let me ask you a question. Um, by what authority did John the Baptist, by what authority did he do things? And they're like, oh, good question. You know what? I don't know. And Jesus said, well, then if you don't know, I'm not going to tell you, but I will tell you a story. And so this is the story that Jesus told. There was a man who had two children, and we will call these cow duck children. There's one and two. Okay. So we have two children. And the man said to the first child, um, will you go to the barn and get me some hay? Because I'm very hungry. I'm a donkey, you know. And this child said, you know what? I'm really busy and I can't go. So sorry, Pops, but forget about it. Doop. Then he went to his other child and he said, will you go to the barn for me and get me some hay? Because I need some hay. And this one said, sure, I would be happy to do it. And the father said, yippee, or hee-haw, yippee. I am so glad you're doing this for me. And so the dad went away. Now, this one who said yes started thinking, you know what? I'm kind of hungry. I'm going to go make myself a sandwich. So they go make a sandwich. And afterwards, they're like, oh, I'm going to catch up on some YouTube. They watch this YouTube tutorial on cow horn beauty and duckbill beauty, and so they're doing this to get all caught up in a tutorial on how to have the most beautiful horns and duckbill. And then they finish watching that, and then they're like, you know what, I'm gonna go take a nap. They go take a nap. They never get to the barn. Now this child, the one who said no way, actually thought about it and said, you know what, I have some time. I think I am going to go to the barn and get some hay. So they go to the barn, they come back, and they bring the hay to the father, who says, thanks a lot. All right. So Jesus asks a question. Who ended up doing what the father wanted? Was it the one who said yes and then didn't go, or the one who said no and did go? And who had the authority to get the hay? Okay. Well, they both had the authority because they were doing what the father had asked, but in the actions, the one who said no actually had the authority because they did something. They did something. The one who said yes and didn't do anything really ended up having no authority at all. So, who in my my questioning has authority? People who are dressed like me, people who run around giving orders, or is it prophets? Is it people who've sometimes been forgotten, like women? People who are like little babies are forgotten? Or maybe people who are facing hard times, who are coming from other countries? Who is doing the will of God? Who is helping further the kingdom of God? Well, I want you to think about it, and we will answer that question on Fun Day School. Does this give me authority? Nope, doesn't give me authority. Does this give me authority? Nope, this doesn't give me authority. But doing stuff, doing, not just saying, doing is where authority lies. And so, as we discuss this in Fun Day School, or if you just sit and think about it, if you're just watching this message, think about, by whose authority do we do things in the world, and how does God's reign, God's family, God's kingdom expand by doing things? So I want you to be well, I want you to be safe. Most of all, I want you to be a blessing, and I will see you on Sunday. And that's the good news. Okay. Peace. Bye-bye.